We've all heard that.
Yeah.
It's universal.
All right, guys, let's kind of do this one the same way we did the last one because it went really smooth.
It did, didn't
Jim, you want to start us again, bud?
Relationships. Number one, meet face to face as often as possible. Seize any opportunity to meet the buyer on their turf. Never start an argument. Prepare with a pep talk or positive reinforcement. And be organized, because they are.
Okay, yes.
I have asked for it, never falsify information, must keep working the deals with the finance sources, must know where you're at in the deal, call the customer with any questions, regarding any credit issues, knowing and understanding the credit bureau, and thanking your buyer.
Great. My first one is in the same order of Jim's, relationship. I had it written 3 times too.
Are you kidding me?
Tell the customer story. Why did this happen? Know the answers before they ask you. Know your programs just like you know your products. Honesty. Always be upfront with your buyers. They will remember that. And I think this one is huge, guys. No matter how long you've been in this business, never, ever, ever make a decision for a bank. You sell the deal to them and let them make the decision. It's their job. It's not our job to say yes or no. But I think so often we say, "There's no way." We've all done it, No way this is going to happen, and you're like, holy shit! You accidentally submit it just to get it turned down, and somebody says, "Hey, maybe I'll do this deal for you." So, don't think for the bank. Let them do that. That's their job. Ski.
My number one was relationship. My number two that I picked up from that class the last time too is actually a good interview with the customer, bringing paper, knowing, getting those answers, finding out everything about why they're in the spot they're in. So I've got that information. 3 for me was structure, knowing how to structure a deal.
Oh, that's a good one.
Knowing the difference between it. Number 4 for me was phone call versus route 1. There's so many deals and so many situations where when I get that information and I know the computer may not like it, I'm making that phone call to that buyer before I ever send it.
Pre-hashing.
Yeah, pre-hashing, before I send it in so they know. So they're grabbing it and doing that deal for me. And the bottom two for me were must nots. One was to bow gaps, falsify information, and the last one was kind of in the same scenario where straw purchase. We get into a lot of that. Where you're buying a car for somebody that doesn't belong to you, and with the relationship with the buyers that we've got, we don't have to. All we have to do is really let them know. You never have to be in that situation. With my buyers, with some of these credit unions that I deal with, they'll be the first one to tell you. You could tell them up front, hey, this is an uncle and he's buying it for a niece, and he's not going to be in the car. She's driving it. Well, we don't really even want her on there. Just we'll take it just like it is. So you don't have to do that stuff to get it done. That's my list.
Relationship. Surprise. Number 2, let the buyer know you understand. And what I mean by that is, I know this is a bigger advance than you normally like to give, or I know that you don't normally do somebody who's currently past due. Number 3 is work with the buyer. Be ready to give up something, maybe an extra $1,500 down, or a shorter term, or maybe you'll give them some extra rate or something along those lines. Be 100% honest with the buyer, but don't give them any information they don't ask for. Just like the one we don't ask them to. Reward your buyer with a no-brainer from time to time. And I don't remember putting this one down. This sounds a little weird, but when I send in a deal to DealerTrack and it's a lot number, lot 6, or apartment number, or something like that, I don't give them back. I just put 123 Main Street. I don't put an apartment number or a lot number or something like that.
And why don't you?
if they, you know, they know the customer is renting, because I checked the box, they're renting. But I don't want them to know that it's a trailer. I don't want them to know that it's a 600 square foot apartment. I want them to assume it's a house.
Gotcha.
My turn. Mine actually started off with what we call $1 million credit application. The more information you have, obviously, the better your chances are. Anybody can get, I don't say anybody can, but anybody can get an easy deal bought. And one thing I installed in salespeople was the credit app has a line, it has a section, and it's there for a reason. Fill it out. And even so much that most of our credit apps say a 5-year job time. There's previous employment. I want that as well because I want to know if they've been doing this same field of work for the last 10 years. You know, they've been selling cars for 5 years, but they were selling cars 5 years at the dealership before that. So for the last 10 years, they've been doing what, you know, same field of work. So $1 million credit application was one. Relationship was another, and I always put little bullet points. It may take months to years to build a relationship, at one moment to destroy it. So relationship is a big key thing. Of course, you know, knowing your proper interview, you know, your accurate structures we mentioned before. One thing I don't do, one lender I have to do this for, and it's weird, but I don't go ahead and preload what I think, you know, warranty is going to cost and what gas is going to cost because we know our programs. But I have one lender I do have to put that in and assume. But and know more history of your customer than what you think you only need to know, which goes back to the whole job time, residence time, and whatnot. But the $1 million, in my opinion, the $1 million credit, as I call it, is probably the most important thing in hanging paper.
Good.
That's it. Do you have the notes from yesterday?
Do I?